Hello and welcome to this Jane's Weather Update for Friday the 10th of October. A couple of things going on today. First, in the southeast corner, we've got cold fronts that are peeking over the bight and then sliding across. Now, that creates damaging winds. Everything in yellow in through here is a severe weather warning for the risk of damaging wind gusts. So it's all of Tasmania and the majority of the southern parts and ranges of Victoria, just into South Australia and the ranges and just to the east of that in southeast New South Wales. Now, we had a big band of cloud and rain that was moving through here. That is dissipating but will regenerate in the coming days over the interior here. We're expecting showers and thunderstorms in inland parts of southern Queensland and also northeast New South Wales during the afternoon. But have a look at this speckled cloud that is down in the south there. That speckled pattern indicates bitterly cold air. Yes, it is almost the middle of October. We can still get these cold outbreaks. I'm going to show you just what this latest one is likely to do. So here we have Friday. By the end of Friday, this is what we're looking at. So here's our band of showers and thunderstorms. It'll be there in the afternoon and evening, northeast New South Wales and the interior parts of southern Queensland. Here is the moisture building to our north. I also want to point out the temperature pattern. So the colours in through here, purples and blues, that's the cold air. 600 metres, that's snow down to 600 metres in through there. In the north, we've got our reds and then our purples. That's our hot air that is building over the northern parts of the country. So that's right into southeast Queensland today and northeast New South Wales. Heat is all through there. What we're looking for is no longer a zonal pattern, so no longer horizontal like this. As soon as you get a horseshoe that is going up like that, that's a burst of cold air that is coming up. As soon as you get the horseshoe that is coming down like that, that's a burst of hot air that is moving down. So let's watch that pattern as we go through, knowing that we've got this big cold outbreak that is just sitting there ready to pounce. So here we have Friday, wet weather just in through here, but a lot over Tasmania. Let's now move into Saturday. All of that starting to sort of move into that horseshoe sort of pattern there, but it's still back over the bight. 600 metres is the snow level in the southern parts of Tasmania, so very, very cold air. We're seeing a bit more wet weather come across with that one. It's later on in the day as you head further eastwards across Victoria there. Meanwhile, a big area of wet weather is brewing over the interior, so let's watch if these two are going to interact. Now, yes, they are in the upper levels of the atmosphere. This here, cold air, is also energy that is up in the top there. That energy is going to drive this system here, but the rain from the two of them, unfortunately, isn't actually going to connect in the middle. So here we have Saturday into Sunday. Here's our next burst of cold air that is moving across the southeast. That's snow to 1,500 metres in these parts of Victoria. So a cold outbreak. Sunday will deteriorate as it goes on. So that's in the southeast corner there. Here's all of our moisture. It is using the instability from that, the atmospheric energy from that one, and it is spreading eastwards here. But look how they don't interact. They do not connect. So northern parts here, southern parts of New South Wales will not see the rain from this. There's the activity to the south, the activity to the north, and they do not meet in between. Okay, so that is moving through. It's in inland New South Wales, central and northern parts. It's Queensland that cops this, and then it'll continue to move through. But all of that cold air there moves away from the southeast by later on Monday. But what it does do is work its way up the coast here. So we will feel a bit of a cool change that moves into northeast New South Wales and southeast Queensland. Not cold, but Brisbane, instead of the low 30s, it moves to about the mid 20s. So that sort of difference in through there. Large ridge of high pressure that is in through these parts here. Now we have a look at the next heat outbreak that is coming down. So it moves into the west. It does not move into the southwest corner. The trough is here. So what you end up with is high pressure here. As soon as that is out to your east, then you have the dip in that horseshoe in terms of that heat, and that's our hot air coming down. And then the trough brings an end to that and the next cooler air that comes through. So as soon as the high is out to the east, yes, you start to warm up, and that comes to an end as soon as the trough comes in. So in the southeast, we're a clearing pattern in through here. We've got all of this that is still over the north, and we've got the remains of this one that is moving particularly through southeast Queensland. Okay, so there's Monday. Let's now have a look at Tuesday. High pressure is now in through here, so our heat can come barreling down, not into the southwest, but yes, the eastern parts of there, moving into South Australia as our winds turn northerly, and it'll start to move into the southeast too. So with the trough on that one, there will be showers and thunderstorms out ahead of it. So heat. So you've got the high out through here, you've got heat out ahead, you've got showers and storms on the cool change that comes in. So that's our pattern. Meanwhile, there's another trough that is just in through here, so showers and thunderstorms anywhere out ahead of that one. So that's the storm risk zone. Here we have Wednesday, warm air coming down into the southeast. Thursday, that heat really does peak in through there. But this one here, there is the trough line, and that is the cool change to signal the end of that particular warm up. And here's our next burst of cold air that is coming in. So a lot happening in through here. The next high is there. Let's now have a look at Friday. Next barrel of heat that is dipping down into the southwest, not quite making it to that southwest corner. High pressure is in through here. Cold outbreak into the southeast. That works its way up the coast. We get showers and thunderstorms on the trough line that moves through into Saturday as well. So a lot going on over the next week in terms of temperature roller coasters, particularly if you're in South Australia, Victoria, Tasmania and New South Wales. And our little cool outbreak that brings a little bit of relief to the southeast corner of Queensland. What is that going to add up to? Let's just turn this one on. We've got nice falls over the north there. In the southeast, it's really a coastal thing here. Southwestern parts of Victoria, western Gippsland, and then picks up in the east there. It's only in the southeast corner of South Australia. It is Tasmania, yes, but not as much as we've seen over the week before this particular one here. This is widespread rain moving through, embedded showers and thunderstorms that are hit and miss, so you can get heavier falls than what this shows if you're directly under a thunderstorm. So that's what to expect pretty much for the next week through there. What does that add up to? So on our Euro model, yes, it likes a lot of wet weather here. This is for the first week, so it's Monday the 13th onwards. It doesn't have any greens over here. Yes, it's got them in the western parts of Tasmania. It doesn't even have them in the southwest. So a fairly quiet pattern in terms of, not in terms of the temperature roller coaster, but in terms of actually getting wet weather that adds up to anything. So the south, we're not expecting anything significant in terms of wet weather in the next week, but we are expecting it in the north. Let's now move into week 2 and have a look at the change in pattern. Looks like Queensland is taking a bit of a break in week 2, starting the 20th of October. The southwest, likely to see some wet weather returning, so it's been quite quiet over there. Something is brewing to come back in. Is this a system that is coming down from the north and spreading eastwards? That will be one to watch as we move through. And again, hitting the western parts of Tasmania. Tasmania was incredibly in drought. Now it is starting to come out, which is really nice to see, but we're not quite getting those falls in through here. Some of them, yes, but not quite as much as what Tasmania is seeing. Okay, so that is week 2. Let's have a look at our Pacific Ocean Index. We are still slowly, steadily heading down. We've got these models crossing the threshold. We're across that USA threshold, so they're not as strong as what the Australians are. So the USA calls it, Australia does not. And Australia only calls it after we've been in it for a little while. So these guys are liking it. These ones are staying firmly neutral. But this is the trend as it has been moving over the next couple of weeks. We expect this in spring, into summer, and it weakens as we go into autumn next year. So this is a summer event. What will it do? It just encourages more moisture to come in from the Pacific Ocean. In the Indian Ocean, we are firmly, very firmly in a very strong negative Indian Ocean dipole. That pushes moisture in from the Indian Ocean. Where that meets up with low pressure, you end up with heavier rain than usual. So we're very firmly still in that strong one there. Let's do a whip around the country. So in Brisbane, we're in the low 30s for the next couple of days. Things change on Sunday, so the day itself is quite good. The day has the heat. Things change at night. Let's just move through here. So we've got 20, 40%, 60%. So only 3 models like that. The Australian model, which is the yellow one, that doesn't like any wet weather coming through later Sunday into Monday morning. But that's the timing, later Sunday into Monday morning. Let's move through on Monday. Showers and thunderstorms again in the afternoon and evening, but that's the cold change. Cold, meaning we're in the mid-20s as I go through Tuesday. And that's kind of how we stick for the rest of the week. There's not much wet weather at all. Let's have a look at Sydney. So here today, we're sunshine. We're about 29. Same thing for Saturday. As we move into Sunday, we're warm ahead of a cool change. Now, that one, we've got 1 or 2 models that like that. What it is that band of rain that is moving across the interior. It moves through the western parts of New South Wales and it spills over into the Sydney Basin. So one model likes a lot from that one, so it has it really getting over the ranges, but most of them do not. So that is a one model really likes it, the rest don't. As we head into Monday, that's when our cooler air starts coming through. You'll really feel that around the middle of the day as that comes in, so it's pretty chilly by Monday night as that cold outbreak across the southeast starts to have an impact there. We slowly warm up for the rest of the week there, and there is high pressure sitting over the top, so conditions are just very stable. There's lots of sunshine. Heading into Melbourne, we've got cloud for the afternoon. There are light showers passing near the coast. The odd one of those may come up. I wouldn't expect anything major from that at all. Okay, so what do I mean by that? It's not going to add up in the rain gauge. You'll barely notice it. Most stay dry. Right. So as we go into Saturday, again in the low 20s, we're looking at cloud building during the day, but the wet weather isn't until late afternoon at the earliest. It's an evening thing as this comes through. So the day on Saturday is still looking quite good. Sunday, 19, maybe 18. It depends on the timing of this one. When that arrives, it dramatically changes. So we have a lot of wet weather as we go through the late afternoon and evening on Sunday. And yes, temperatures turn absolutely freezing. So look out for that coming through on Sunday. That clears in the early hours of Monday morning. Hardly anything left for there. And then let's look at our temperatures. Tuesday, 22, mix of sun and cloud. Sunshine for Wednesday, high 20s. Sunshine for Thursday, high cloud building. We're in the low 30s ahead of the next change that comes through, which really drops temperatures as we go into Friday. So if you're after the heat, it's Wednesday and Thursday next week. Let's have a look at into South Australia. So we'll head to Friday here. There's just the odd light shower moving through, and into Saturday as well. It's not going to add up to very much, but yes, you're going to notice them as they come in. Temperatures are in the high teens. They warm up as we go into Wednesday and into Thursday. That could be even hotter. It depends on the timing of the change. So this has it in the early afternoon at this stage, so keep an eye on that one. And then this is what we get out of it. So it's not big, heavy falls with it, but yes, it is a significant reduction in temperature. So that's later on Thursday when that comes in. Over in Perth, let's just have a look at our temperatures here. We know we've got that heat that is surging down, but it's not quite making it all the way over to the coast. So around the low 20s for much of the week. It might warm up again on Friday, but it's very, very quickly, and there's hardly any wet weather with any of that as well. So heat to the east, but it's not actually reaching that southwestern coast. That's all from me for this one. I will see you next week. Bye.